Hello book lovers, welcome to Uncommon Reader. I'm Daniela and this is my Autumn Reads Wrap-Up Part 2 and final. I have quite a few books to share with you, so I'm going to go straight to it and rely on my notes so we can make it short and sweet. Let's start with a book by Tove Jansson. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Perhaps my friend Tracy can let me know. So this was my first encounter with this Swedish-speaking Finnish author, which also was a novelist, a painter, illustrator, and comic strip author. She was brought up by artistic parents, and she studied art from 1930s to 1938 in Helsinki, Stockholm, and Paris. Lucky girl. So the book that I actually didn't read, but I listened to, was the book that my local library chose for our October read. But while I was in California at that time, I only found an audiobook version at the San Francisco library. So this is a very sweet coming-of-age novel set in a small island in the Gulf of Finland. The chapters are a series of episodes recounting the relationship between young Sofia, a curious and lively girl, and her grandmother, with whom she spends the summer after the death of her mother. Each chapter describes a moment in the summertime between Sofia and her grandmother, made of simple walks, discussions, dreams, moments of silence, encounters with other villagers, but it also explores deeper themes such like the importance of nature, the passing of time, loss, freedom, and above all, at the center of the attention is this very endearing bond between Sofia and her grandmother, and see these two generations finding a common ground. The writing style is essential, delicate, and wrapped up in subtle humor. Being this an audiobook, I had some difficulties in trying to stay focused as the novel moved with a very slow pace. So rather than a coming of age, I would probably describe it more as a contemplative novel, but I did appreciate this special bond between grandmother and niece, and definitely so many moments of poetry within the novel. Next book is Happy Are the Happy by Yasmina Reza. She's a French writer, actress, screenwriter. In fact, you may know her because she wrote what was made into a movie by Roman Polanski, a movie called Carnage, with an exceptional cast. Actresses like Jodie Foster, Kate Winslet, and actors like Christopher Waltz and John C. Reilly. A very disturbing movie, by the way. This novel is a collection of short stories composed in an intertwined short episodes that form a mosaic of contemporary lives, all in search for happiness in a world dominated by dissatisfaction, lack of communication, and emotional fragility. The 21 chapters are monologues of first-person narratives, and that's, I think, the secret of the book, because I don't know about you, but I am immediately drawn into the character when a book is narrated in first person. So each chapter is dedicated to a different character, couples, parents, lovers, friends, whose stories intersect. Reza's style is dry and ironic and explores our small failures, contradictions, and illusions of everyday life, maintaining a tone that is simultaneously comical and melancholic. Happiness is something that everyone seeks, but it's quite difficult to grasp and hold on to it. Change of plans, my friends. Sun rays were coming in, a disaster of double reflection, so I think I'm much more relaxed in here, and I'm going to continue my wrap-up talking about two books by the same author, Irene Nemirovsky. She was a novelist of Ukrainian Jewish origin. She was born in Kiev in 1903. She, though, spent most of her life in France, but was denied French nationality. Unfortunately, she was persecuted by the Nazis during the Second World War and died in a concentration camp. But during her, although brief life, she was very versatile, and she wrote quite a few novels. So I had read before Suite Française, which is probably her most famous novel and her last. Unfortunately, she was not able to finish it, but thanks to her daughters, who found the manuscript after she died, they were able to publish it. So these two novels were part of a book club that I created with another booktuber friend of mine for my Italian channel. We chose Jezebel and The Fires of Autumn. Jezebel is a razor-sharp character study of a woman who is consumed by her fading beauty as she becomes more and more hollow from the inside out. The story unfolds during her trial for the death of a young man she killed. And through her testimony, we go back and learn about her childhood and her young years. And we just realize how deeply her selfishness and obsession with youth runs. It's a very dark and chilling novel, and we see how this woman's obsession with her beauty and only that ruins all the relationships around her. The Fire of Autumns, it's a moving story about a group of young people living in Paris whose lives are changed forever by World War I and the years after. At the center are the characters of Therese and Bernard, two childhood friends who care for each other but are constantly pulled in different directions by the war and by their own choices. It's remarkable how Nemirovsky is able to grasp the difficulties of this generation that has to grow way too fast and are struggling to deal with emotions, with loss, with love, with financial difficulties, and the pressure of rebuilding a life after a war. But what I found in both these Nemirovsky novels is that she enjoys giving life to characters that are filled with flaws and shortcomings, exposing them, though, without judgment. And yet she is able to suck in the reader into the story and get invested and want to know how the story ends, despite the fact that she deprives the reader of heroes or men with good intention, men and women with good intention. I find this to be such a talent, to be in the presence of protagonists you don't approve of, but still not being able to put the book down. Earlier this autumn, I took part on a silent night reading. It was my first time, and it was quite the atmosphere because there was a DJ playing, mostly classical or ambience music, and I found it so perfectly matching the moments that I was reading. What was I reading? I was reading White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky, which is a beautiful, melancholic little novella that captures the ache of loneliness and the sweetness of brief, impossible love. Dostoevsky gives us a dreamer wandering the St. Petersburg's white night streets, clinging to connection even when it's fleeting. It's a tender, bittersweet, and surprisingly modern in a way it portrays unrequired feelings. It's a short read, but it lingers, and I guess it was really enhanced by the music at one point. For me, the final thought that I had reading this novel is that although fleeting, this happiness, if we're able to capture it and keep it within our hearts, it will help us keep a positive attitude and maybe keep a hopeful heart for the future. And now The Fifth Child by Doris Lessing. This was a very unsettling novel about a seemingly perfect family living their dream. A couple that falls in love and plans to have a lot of kids, a big house filled with guests, and building happy memories. And they will succeed with the financial help of the husband's father. Their world, though, is shaken by the birth of their fifth child, Ben. From the beginning, since the pregnancy, Ben is a different child, is distant, unusually strong, and impossible to manage. And his presence slowly tears the family apart. The couple starts to disagree on how to handle a child that doesn't fit the mold and protect the other children in the house. Some family members close to them are still there helping them. They are getting really tired because they don't see the willingness of collaborate anymore. So this is a book that I read with my library book club, and it really gave us so many different angles, different perspective in terms of the mother trying to do the right thing for the child and maybe neglecting the others, or society and how society plays a role into what should be a perfect family, right? And how would people from the outside know what's really going on in a family? So yeah, we had quite the arguments describing this novel, which actually has a sequel, which I probably am going to read. I'm not sure if it's going to be next year, but the sequel of this novel, it's called Ben, and the protagonist of the second novel is the difficult child, narrated by the difficult child. So of course I'm super curious to know his perspective. So it's another perspective to look things at, of course, that we may not have considered reading this one. And last but not least, in fact, this is a very fresh read. I finished it the other day and I loved it. This 800 pages by Oriana Fallaci. You may know her already if you follow my channel for a while. This is Insciallah, written not in the usual way, but in the Italian pronunciation way, Insciallah. And it's a gripping novel set during the Lebanese civil war in the 80s, following the Italian troops who were part of the multinational peacekeeping forces in Beirut, alongside the French, the United States, and other European troops. Fallaci captures the chaos, the brutality, and the fear of war, but she also brings the story to life with touching and often humorous portraits of the Italian soldiers, written in their many regional dialects, which lighten the mood throughout. And I had a ball with actually, me lover of dialects. The book explores the personal cost of war, showing how it shapes love, loyalty, and the human spirit in times of war. It's raw, it's highly emotional, unforgettable, and it balances the horrors of conflict with moments of great humanity. Loved it. It was so worth it, and despite the 800 pages and the war setting, a real page turner. We're done. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd be curious to know if you're interested, if you have read any of these books. Let's chat in the comments. Thank you for supporting my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos coming up soon here on Uncommon Reader. Take care. Happy reading for now. Ciao.